Yo, what's up everybody? This is Unpunk bringing you another Three Houses video. Today we are talking about the must-have characters in your Maddening playthroughs of Three Houses, and we're going very in-depth talking about their growths, their abilities, and basically all the reasons that you're going to want to have these units on your team or in your squad. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and please remember that this is opinion-based, so yours might differ from mine. And if it does, leave me a comment on what yours is down in the comment section below. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first character I want to talk about is Petra. She is an amazing unit with some really great skills and advantages over units like Felix, but also has a few drawbacks like her lower strength growth. First, let's talk about her natural growths. She has a 45% growth rate in HP, 40% in strength. She only has 25 in magic, got 50 in dexterity, and 60% in speed, which is absolutely phenomenal. 45% in luck, 30% in the defense stat, 15% for resistance, and 35% for charm. Those stat growths alone make her a pretty good unit to have. She also excels in 4 different skills, those being sword, axe, bow, and flying. She has weaknesses in both reason and faith magic, making neither of them a very viable option for her, so obviously not a great mage class. But if you want to do it, go ahead, because this is Three Houses and you can do anything you like. Her personal skill is called Hunter's Boon, which is probably my favorite thing about her, and it adds plus 20 crit if the enemy she is attacking has 50% or less HP, which comes very in handy if she's taking down the thief/assassin class line, which further boosts her dexterity stats growth by either 10 or 20% respectively, giving her a 60 to 70% dexterity chance increase at every level, which is pretty damn good if you do ask me. Petra also has the highest possible speed stat for any character in the game that can be reached, which is up to 85 points maximum. Now, obviously, it'd take quite a few levels to get there, probably into the 60s to 70s at least to get there, if not higher. But it is possible for her to hit 85, which is pretty crazy and might be useful in other modes that are added in down the line. If I am to recommend a class line for her, I would use the mercenary to quickly become a thief, then to an assassin due to the fact that both of those classes significantly boost dexterity and speed, which will make her have an incredibly high avoid and really great critical hit chances. Even though her strength might not be quite as high, they definitely make up for it with her critical hits. And man, do I gotta tell you, she is a crit god. And that's why Petra has made it on our list. Next up, let's take a minute to talk about Felix. He's going to be most likely your go-to sword user in Maddening for a variety of reasons. The first being that Felix has some amazing growths overall, and it makes him a very versatile sword, brawling, and bow user, as those are his 3 skills that he naturally excels in. Felix has, unfortunately, a weakness to authority, which makes him slightly less useful overall compared to Petra, due to the fact that it's very hard to level up his authority, and gambits are extremely useful in Maddening. And he also has a weakness in reason, but he can turn that one around because it's also a budding talent for him. If you don't already know how budding talents work in this game, they work as if you spend time teaching a student in a specific skill. After a few instruction days spent on that skill, instead of having a weakness, they will in turn excel in it and learn a special skill available to them that can't be learned from any other method. In this case, Felix has the special skill, which is called Black Magic Crit plus 10, which can come in very handy if you use him in a Mortal Savant class, which I personally don't think is a great direction for him. But it works if you guys like that, because he has a naturally pretty decent dexterity growth, and a lot of classes will be able to boost that, like the Thief or Assassin, if you take him in that kind of sword path. He has great overall growths, excelling at strength and speed, and he is great if you send him down the Swordmaster class line, at least in my personal opinion. His growths are going to come in at 45% on HP, 55% on strength, which is very nice, 30% on magic, 45% on dexterity. He's got a 55 speed growth, 40 on luck, 30 for defense, 20 for resistance, and 30 for charm. When I use Felix, I personally like to make him into a mercenary first so that he can master that class and gain advantage. And the remainder of his levels between 10 and 20, I put him into the thief class for the additional dexterity and higher speed boosts. After that, I move him into the Swordmaster class for the HP, strength, and speed boosts, as well as Swordfare and all the great abilities that the Swordmaster class has. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't think the Swordmaster is a great class, but it's really, really useful in Maddening. At least from my experience and my time using it so far, I'm really having some good luck, especially for Felix. I know, again, if desired, a lot of people liked him as a Moral Savant as his master class, and that can help so that he can use Heal and use his magics like Thoron, and I believe his other magic is Thunder, but I could be wrong on that. But unfortunately, he only learns 2 magic attacks, and his somewhat low growth in both magic and resistance don't make him a super versatile Moral Savant, but he's one of the only classes or characters in the game that I would consider putting that class in. He also has less of a critical hit boost if he is a Moral Savant than if he is a Swordmaster, because a Swordmaster gets a plus 10 on sword crit, which can come in very handy, especially for a phenomenal sword user like him. But that's, really up to you on what you like him in. But that's why Felix is going to come in on our must-have classes list. Coming up next, we have Ingrid. She's a character known for her expertise in lances, especially Luin, which is her hero relic that is linked to her crest, the Crest of Daphnel, which sometimes raises the amount of a combat art attack. On top of her ability to wield such a powerful lance, she has a personal skill called Lady Knight, which adds plus 3 might and plus 5 hit to all gambit attacks, which is extremely useful in Maddening mode. She also has some very great stat growths, coming in at 40% on HP, 35% on strength, 35 on magic. She's got 40 on dexterity, 60 for speed, which is great, 45 on luck, 30 for defense, 40 on resistance, which is nice for a physical dominant using class or character, and then also 45% on charm. The best part is that most of her growths are at least decent, with her having obviously excelling in speed. Ingrid excels in 4 different skills, those being sword, lance, flying, and riding. She is a great flying or cavalier unit, since both of those she specializes in, also specialize in sword and lance, but I prefer to use her as a flying unit for the additional mobility and additional resistance gain, especially for classes like the Pegasus or Falcon Knights. Now, when I use Ingrid, she is very great to become that Pegasus Knight and eventually move her into the Falcon Knight, which in my opinion is one of the best classes for Maddening mode. If you haven't already checked out that video, definitely going to have a link down in the description so you can check that out. And I have her level up her sword and axe a bit, just getting up to C, so that way she can become a Wyvern Knight in between the time she becomes a Pegasus Knight and Falcon Knight, because for some reason a Pegasus Knight is an intermediate class in this game instead of an advanced class, and that kind of throws me off. But that's what I like to do for my Ingrid, and I really think she's a phenomenal unit to be using, so make sure to get her in your squad for your Maddening playthroughs. The absolute best healer in the entirety of 3 houses is Mercedes, and she's the next character on our list, as she does have one of the most annoying voices of any character to probably ever be voice acted in a Fire Emblem game. She also has one of the best abilities in any Fire Emblem game that is linked to being a white mage. That ability is called Live to Serve, and allows her to restore equal amounts of health back to herself as she does to a unit she's healing. So whether it's an ally or your own player or anything of the such, any unit she heals, she gets that much health back, which is really, really phenomenal. Now, Mercedes does have some great strengths, like she excels in Reason and Faith Magic, but she's got 4 skills that she's got a weakness to, which kind of drags her down if you want to take her anywhere in the physical attacking kind of process, as she is weak to, or has a weakness in swords, lances, axe, and heavy armor. She is weak in those, but they don't take away from the fact that she is designed to be either a priest or, if you desire, a Greymory / Warlock kind of class, since she's good with both reason and healing. Her growth rates are about what you'd expect from a mage class, being at 30% on the HP, 25% on strength, 50% in magic, and 45% in dexterity, which are both great, 40% in speed, which is pretty good, 30% for luck, 25% for defense, 45% for resistance, and 40% for charm. Now, she doesn't excel very well in any growth or is exceptional in any of them, but she can easily make up for that in the white magic that she can learn. She learned spells, and probably her best spell is called Fortify. This spell has a might of 15 and can heal any unit within its range, which is based off her magic stat, which most of the time will be a pretty decent stat by the time she learns a spell, which requires A-level faith magic. And by default, it has 2 uses, which can easily be doubled to 4 if you're using the bishop or priest class, makes it very versatile to have as a really, really powerful faith magic and healing unit, especially due to the fact that she can basically heal all your units in one turn, including herself because of her live to serve ability that works in unison. Overall, Mercedes is definitely going to be the must-have healer in your party when you're doing your maddening modes. But again, make sure you teach all of your characters that can have classes that wield magic and physical uses at least a little bit in the faith magic so they can have heal, and a couple extra heal units is never a bad idea. Coming in last, but definitely not least, is Lysa Thea. She's arguably the best unit in the entirety of 3 houses because of her magic abilities she learns alone. Lysa Thea is one of 3 units in the game that can learn dark magic, and she also has a plentiful amount of offensive white magic spells as well. She learns 3 of the best dark magic spells in the game, being Luna, which completely ignores enemy resistance but has a very low might of just 1. She learns Dark Spikes, which rips any horse unit to shreds. Yes, even the Dark Knight, which I'm sure you all already know by now. And she also learns Hades, which I believe is the most powerful dark magic spell any playable character can learn. On top of all that, the great dark magic she learns, she also has 3 offensive white magic spells, being Nosferatu, which can heal the user back, Seraphim, and Abraxas, I think is how you say that, which is, in my understanding, the most powerful offensive of the white magics that can be learned, again, by any playable character. She has some very phenomenal growths, but she has some absolutely terrible ones, and those are coming in at 20% on the HP and 15% on strength, so she's not a versatile unit for anything that requires physical attacks. But she has 60% on magic and 60% on dexterity, and then additionally 50% on speed. And those 3 stats alone, I think, are 3 of the most crucial stats in the game. Obviously, all work in synergy together, but those 3 being that high is really, really important. She also has 15% on luck, only 10% on defense, which is horrible, 25% on resistance, and 25% on charm. Now, the trade-off with Lysa Thea is that she will typically become a glass cannon, meaning she is extremely powerful, but also extremely fragile. She is best suited to follow the mage class line all the way up to Greymory, but also isn't a horrible Dark Knight as you compare the Black Magic Tome Fair the Dark Magic Tome Fair that she will naturally learn with the Dark Magic Tome Fair of the Dark Knight class, which gives her an additional 10 might on all of her dark magic spells. But that kind of throws a lot of her white magic kind of down under the bus, as she won't have the additional white magic or dark magic uses while in that class. She also has the personal ability Mastermind, which doubles all weapon, mount, and class experience gained, making her able to master twice as many classes as the same amount of time spent for another character just to get that one class. So she can get a whole bunch more mastery abilities and progress through classes and levels and all that quicker. If you pair this with the Knowledge Stone, that will also stack, and it triples all the experience gained in those categories, which is absolutely fantastically broken and is very, very useful to do in Maddening mode, especially if you're just trying to level some things up for her real quick or get a class mastered real quick, maybe for an advanced class that she's already reached all of her levels in, like you want to get Miracle from Bishop or something along those lines. Lysa Thea has 4 skills that she has weaknesses in, which are heavy armor, lances, axes, and sword, but she also has a budding talent in sword, which gives her the Soul Blade combat art and allows her to deal magical based damage with swords, and obviously is increased based on her magic stat rather than her strength stat, which makes her versatile in having swords, but it's kind of the same as using magic spells, so it doesn't really have an extreme difference, but it is nice to have those physical swords in case she randomly runs out of all her magic, which is very unlikely as she learns so much. Now, she does excel in 3 different categories, those being reason, faith, and authority, and those are probably some of the best reasons about her because you can make her into an absolutely fantastic mage class, and you can get her some really great gambits a lot earlier on, which can make up for her fragile nature by boosting protection, resilience, by increasing her magic, and just giving her really, really powerful gambits at her disposal much earlier in the game than other units. And that's why Lysa Thea made it on to our must-have characters for 3 Houses Maddening playthroughs. That is the absolute must-have characters for any Maddening playthrough in 3 Houses. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, it would be amazing if you could drop a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you'd like to stay updated on all the news that we have and anything new coming to Fire Emblem 3 Houses, make sure you guys have that notification bell on the channel so you won't miss any of our future uploads. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you real soon. Peace!